Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Sports Dialogue podcast host, Paul Edwards.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sports Dialogue. It's Saturday, May 23rd. And tonight, the New York Knicks are traveling to Cleveland to play the Cavs in Game 3. I'm here on this episode to discuss the NBA playoffs, the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Western Conference Finals. I'll start with the New York Knicks and the Cavs in the East. The Knicks lead this series 2-0. And as you may or may not know, the first team to win 4 games wins the series and advances to the finals in each conference, the East and the West. And in the East, the Knicks are leading the Cavs 2-0. And they're going into Game 3 tonight. And Game 3 is important to both teams, in my opinion. A lot of folks think that it's super important to the Cavs alone because even if the Cavs win tonight, the Knicks can win on Monday and then be up 3-1 coming back to the Madison Square Garden. So for that reason, a lot of people think that it's more important for the Cavs to win than the Knicks, which could be true. But also what I think is true is that this is a very, very important game for the New York Knicks, and I'll tell you why. I mean, all the games are important, don't get me wrong, but this particular Game 3, with the Knicks being up 2-0, carries a little bit more importance, I think, for the Knicks to win. And the reason why I say that is Cleveland in New York, they were up 20-plus points in the fourth. Usually when you're up 20-plus points in the fourth, you win. And Cleveland did not. The Knicks came back and won in overtime. So that had to be a bit deflating for the Cavs, whether they say it or not. Then in Game 2, as we'll see a little later, they came out and lost. They didn't shoot the ball well at all, the Cavs. So now the Cavs are saying, hey, we're going home. So we're going to right the ship at home. And we're going to win 2 at home and then come on back to New York and you'll see a different Cavalier team in New York. But if the Knicks can win Game 3, in my opinion, there goes that home court advantage in terms of we'll play better at home. You might, but you still lost. So if the Knicks can win Game 3 and go up 3-0, the series will probably be a 4 or 5 game series. And the importance of that is if the series in the West goes 6 or 7, the Knicks can rest again. And I spoke to you in a previous episode about how I think rest is beneficial, particularly during these playoffs. And, there's a lot of stress on the body. And I hate to use a nasty word like injury, but you can see that players are getting injured, which is a part of the sport. But I think rest would help to avoid some of those injuries. So I think if the Knicks can win Game 3, I think the series is over in 4 or 5. So that's the importance of why I think the Knicks really should win Game 3 tonight, and don't take it lightly. I'm going to look back. I'm going to take a look back at what I said when in the prior series against the 76ers, the Knicks were up 2-0 going into Philly, the way they're up 2-0 now going into Cleveland. And the Knicks won that game. So I want you to take a listen and watch and listen to what I said about Game 3 after the Knicks won that game. But what you can't see from the box scores and the stats, you cannot see the intensity that they're playing with now. They're at a whole different level. I think it was Game 3 in Philadelphia. Philadelphia came out, with quite a bit of intensity. They were looking to get Game 3. That's the first game on their home court. And if you don't win Game 3, it's hard to come back down 3-0. And Philadelphia came out swinging in Game 3. And the Knicks matched the intensity. The Knicks went down double figures, but they matched the intensity. They took the onslaught and slowly came back and then flipped the script. So the Knicks, I gave the Knicks a lot of credit in Game 3 just from an defensive intensity standpoint and atmosphere, although we had a lot of Knicks fans in Philadelphia, there was obviously that was their home court, and they had a lot of fans, certainly more fans than they have at the Madison Square Garden. So Philly came out, and the Knicks impressed me while the way they handled that onslaught. Okay, so you saw what I said about, the intensity level of the Knicks. Philadelphia came out swinging. Not swinging like a boxer, but, they came out playing hard, throwing heavy blows. And when I say heavy blows, again, not like a boxer, but they came out making shots with real strong intensity. And they really wanted to win that game. And the Knicks, as you heard, I mean, they really weathered that storm. They took the punches and they flipped the script and won game 3. So I think that the Knicks have to play with high intensity level tonight in game 3 as if they're down 0-2 and get game 3 with that intensity level like they played game 3 in Philadelphia. There's no question about that. So again, I'm going to show you what I said before game 2 in New York. What I said about the intensity level that the Knicks need to play with, what I said about Karl-Anthony Towns, and I'm going to play for you what I said about Mr. Bridges in round 1, I believe it was, when people were concerned about him not shooting as well as he can. I'm going to play for you what I said about Mr. Bridges and Karl-Anthony Towns in game 2 and the intensity level. I would tell him, listen to the noise. You are a very, very good player, offensively and defensively. Right now, you're not shooting as well as you can, but that most NBA players go through that. You are a scorer, a shooter, and a defender. Keep shooting quality shots. Don't force it, but do not pass up a quality shot when it comes your way. Continue to shoot. If you don't make the shot, just play that much harder on defense. Whether you're making shots or not, you can still play defense. Mikal Bridges is a very, very good defender. So, Mr. Bridges, don't listen to the noise. Keep shooting and keep playing. Even if you're not making the shots, raise your defensive level. It's already good. Even raise it to another level. Play defense, continue to shoot, and you'll do well. Listen, folks, stay tuned. As I said, subscribe to the channel. Coming soon, there'll be posts later in the NBA playoffs of Sports Dialogue. Thank you. God bless you. I do believe, though, my suggestion is taper that just a little bit. We need you. My opinion is we as a Knicks fan, the Knicks need you to score. Need Mr. Towns to drive the ball to the basket. Very capable of driving the ball to the basket and scoring. And he's certainly capable of hitting that 3-point shot. We need you to score, Mr. Towns. And you are extremely capable of scoring. Yes, facilitate. But, being the facilitator will bear more fruit if they're worried about you scoring. If they just know that you're going to post up, get the ball, and look to pass it, they're not going to push up on you. They're going to lag back a little bit and try to cut off the passing lanes for people diving. And the problem is that the ball, while you're looking to facilitate, the ball is sticking a little bit. It's not moving. So I would suggest that Mr. Towns, make them pay. Show them that you can score. Okay, so you saw what I said about the Cat. You saw what I said about Mr. Bridges. So let's take a look in game 2 and kind of see what they did.
With another floater, and that's what he killed the Cavaliers with down the stretch of the game. Anunoby, cross court to Towns. Towns a three-pointer. And a hot start. Back-to-back buckets and a steal, and it's 5-0.
And Mikal Bridges getting to one of his favorite spots.
Harden step back, and Anunoby got a piece of it. Jared Allen tries to tip it, but Towns tracks it down. Here's Anunoby down the other end. Tough catch, and the finish. He started it with the block and finishes down the other end.
This league, and we all know this. Offense, our great defense leads to easy offensive opportunities, and the Cavs just...
All 5 Knicks starters have scored. Cavs, though, up by 2. Mitchell, hard to the basket, can't get it. Fight for the rebound. Jared Allen again has it poked away. Hart tracks it down, but he stepped out of bounds. Meanwhile, the Cavs have come out beautifully. Jared Allen, strong start, poked away by Anunoby. Ball finds its way to Max Strus. He's in the game. Sam Merrill as well.
That swing over creates a 2-on-1. It's not even a true advantage. It's just moving the basketball side to side created that advantage.
Towns has Harden on him. Takes him off the dribble. Goes right at Allen. Layup as good as he crashes to the floor.
Talking about right here, that's his sweet spot. Aggressive around the shot blocker.
As we approach the 2-minute mark. McBride, quick release, knocks down the three. He didn't score in game one.
Just enough touch to get that up over the shot blocker.
Towns has some room. Towns connects on the three. Barnes taking just 2 shots already in 9 minutes. Drives on Brunson, gets inside, blocked by Robinson. Out to Tyson. Merrill tries a 3-pointer. That misses. Ball knocked loose. Tyson trying to hustle.
Line defense that Brunson does a good job of not fouling. And a
couple of lefties getting cantankerous. Bridges kicks it out in the corner. Hart's going to try again. That one goes down. Missed his first 3.
Don't see it that often from James Harden.
That was their first 3 of the second quarter. They were 0 for 8. Harden has bounced back nicely. He's got 8 points. Josh Hart. Spin move. Oh, what a spin from Hart. Bridges gets past Harden. Finds Hart back up top. Anunoby. Sidestep. 3-pointer straight on. It's good. His first 3-pointer. Knicks back up 5. Knicks have to feel good with the lead. And Jalen Brunson only 2 points. Hart checks the seams and nails the 3. Had all the time in the world.
And this is now a conscious decision on the part of the Cavs.
Good. Bridges sprinting up the floor, back defensively. Mitchell finds some space. We got a piece of it.
And Atkinson said that Donovan has not said anything to him, but he said, I am seeing the same thing.
Thank you, Lisa. Brunson, long 3-pointer. He has not had many clean looks. Kicks it out. Mitchell tries to answer. Ball deflected. Towns comes up with it. Throws it ahead to Brunson. Beautiful advance pass, and Hart running the floor. The beneficiary.
Aggressive here to start and finding space.
Looking for space here. Kicks it out. Hart. Hart again, wide open 3 and gets it again. That's his 3rd 3-pointer. A 14-0 run for the Knicks. Game 1 wound up being 44-11. Hart left open. Hart puts it in. Josh Hart on fire from outside. Shot clock at 6. Brunson kicks it out in the corner. Hart another 3. It's good. Josh Hart lighting it up from long distance. Jalen Brunson has 9 assists. Brunson gets inside. Stopped up top. McBride. Shot clock winding down. McBride's going to have to shoot it. Kicks it out. Towns. Step back jumper. Got it. Brunson and Mitchell. There comes the double team. Brunson looking. Finds Clarkson. Shot clock at 4. Back to Brunson. On the drive. Throws it up. And Robinson with the flush. Shooter on Brunson. Finds Anunoby. Anunoby a 3-pointer. That's good.
It was stops to try to secure the game. This is stops to try to give yourself a chance on the other end.
Bridges wide open for 3. Puts it in. Kicks it back out to Hart. Shot clock at 5. Hart on the drive. Spin move. Falling away. One-handed shot is good. Everything going down tonight for Josh Hart.
First, let's look at Cat, Karl Anthony Towns. He had 18 points and 12 field goal attempts and made 7. That's 58%. That's pretty good, 58%. And let's take a look at Mr. Bridges. He had 19 points. He took 12 shots and made 9. That's 75%. So, those 2 players really performed really well. So congratulations to the entire Knicks team. But other players contributed. The Knicks had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in double figures, if I'm not mistaken. Is there a 6? No, 5 players in double figures in game 2 and shot 51.8%, almost 52% from the field. So that means they made more than half of their attempts. So that's pretty good. And then from 3-point land, they shot 36% percentage points from three-point land in game 2. And their numbers were pretty similar in game 1, if I'm not mistaken. They shot 47% from the field and 31%. So they were a little bit down. They went up from the field to 51% from 47.7. So they shot a little bit better from the field. And they shot not as good in game 1 as they did in game 2 from the three-point line. They shot 31.3% from the three-point line, and I think it was 36% from the three-point line in game 2. Let me just double check that. Yeah, 36.1% from the three-point line. So the Knicks shooting was fairly, believe it or not, even though in game 1 they started out slow for 3 quarters, they picked it up and, shot at a decent percentage point from game 1, which you couldn't tell that from watching the first 3 quarters. And then they continued it in game 2, actually raised their shooting percentage in game 2 from 47.7 to 51%. So the Knicks need to carry that, shoot 50% or better from the field goal percentage in game 3. Closer to 40+%, 45 to 50. If they can do 45% from three-point land in Cleveland, that'll bode well for them. But the one thing that you can't see from the numbers is the intensity level. They have to play with that intensity level. If they can play with that high intensity level the way they did game 3 in Philadelphia and shoot 50% from the field and maybe 45% or so from three-point land, I think the Knicks give themselves a pretty good chance to win. Cleveland in game 2 only shot 38.8% in game 2 at the Garden from the field, and then from three-point land, 25.7%. So they didn't have a good shooting that night in game 2, Cleveland. They didn't at all. So, I think that what the Knicks need to do for sure is to just make sure that intensity level is there tonight against Cleveland, and know that Cleveland's going to come out throwing haymakers. Their intensity level is going to be high, but the Knicks need to match and exceed that intensity level and flip the script on Cleveland and win. It won't be easy because Cleveland has very good ball players. They certainly do. I've spoken about that. But the Knicks have a good starting 5 and a good bench. To me, I look at the Knicks as starting 11. They're really good, 1 through 11, 12. So we'll see what happens tonight. Next, I have a book release coming soon, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. I'll just show you a little bit of promo for that. And then I'll come back and discuss the Western Conference Finals, which is the Spurs playing OKC.
The Truth Plan shows us how to help to eliminate the inequities in affordable housing, unemployment, healthcare, education, the media, small businesses, access to capital, and much more. The Truth Plan also shows us how the elimination of these inequities also benefits the higher income community. The goals and objectives for equity are crucial in addressing the disparities that exist in our society. A primary focus must be on eliminating the racial, wealth, and equity gaps that disproportionately affect low-income and minority communities. This involves a comprehensive approach that includes ensuring access to affordable housing, improving employment opportunities, and enhancing healthcare access for underrepresented groups. By prioritizing these areas, we can create a more equitable foundation for all individuals, regardless of their background or economic status.
The Truth Plan is a self-help plan to eliminate the racial, wealth, and equity gap that exists between the low-income, the middle-income, the Black and brown communities, and the higher-income communities. The Truth Plan believes that all communities should prosper. The success of the Truth Plan will help to eliminate the inequities between the aforementioned communities in the areas of affordable housing, unemployment, healthcare, education, the media, small businesses, access to capital, and more. The higher income communities will also benefit. Prosperity for all. Never settle for less.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this episode of Sports Dialogue. I'm going to discuss now the Western Conference Finals for the Spurs and OKC. Going to discuss games 2 and 3. Game 4 is going to take place Sunday. That's game 4. So I'm going to discuss game 2 and 3 with you. First, I'm going to play for you what I said after game 1 and before game 2 as to what I believe that OKC needed to do to win. So I'm going to play that for you now. Wemby in the middle is very tough. He's a tough guard. He's not the only player on the team. I mean, they get contributions as you saw from many different players. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in double figures. And that means they're getting contributions from different sources. And then on top of that, you get 41 points from Wemby in the middle. And you saw that jump shot he hit from on their half court at the end of regulation. He can shoot the ball, he can dunk the ball, he can go to the basket, he can defend, he can block shots. So, I just think he just needs to, strengthen his body, which will happen over time. He's still young, but that Spurs team is really, really playing well. And to get that kind of diversity in scoring bodes well for the Spurs. They shot 42.7%, just a little under 43% from the field. And from the three-point line, they shot 30%. So they can improve their percentage somewhat, 42, get it up to about 50, and get the 30% from three-point up to about 40. So there's room for improvement for them. But, having 6 players in double figures says that, quite a few people are scoring. Now, OKC, if you take a look at OKC, they had, obviously Williams had 26 points, and Shay had 24 points, and Caruso had 31 points. So there was heavy point production out of those 3 players. But if I'm not mistaken, those 3 players were the only players in double figures. So you had the Spurs with 6 players in double figures, and OKC 3 players in double figures. They need more production out of other players, OKC. They shot 40% from the field, which is a little lower than the 42.7 that the Spurs shot. So both teams can shoot a little bit better. And they shot 37.8% from the three-point line did OKC, which is better than the 30% that the Spurs shot. So both teams can improve their shooting, but OKC needs to get more production out of other people. If I'm OKC, I think that, the 3 players that I mentioned, they need to do that again, and they need to get some other players scoring. They're a tough defensive team, OKC. They get their hands in. They're very handsy. They get their hands in on the ball. So they're pretty solid defensively, and they go with the 2 bigs, Hartenstein. So thank you, and God bless you.
Clock at 5. SGA contested shot. Knock it down. That is a tough bucket there. Hartenstein had a body on him. SGA got inside with a bump in the basket. Still free. Keldon Johnson comes away with it. Pass for Wembanyama, taken away. Here comes Caruso the other way. SGA! Lucas Alexander gets inside. Holmgren, a little effort. Inside Hartenstein. Beautiful feed by Holmgren.
Get into his wheelhouse, knocking down shots.
Harper inside. Denied by Lucas Alexander. Back the other way. Come the Thunder.
Spurs have been consistent, dominating the offensive glass.
Holmgren on the attack and 1.
Painted like Usher or somebody, yeah. It's smooth.
Long time listener.
Oh, no.
SGA lost him.
Oh, stop it, SGA.
Mitchell, the MVP. They come to defend him. He goes around him, picks Holmgren to the basket. Shot! Timeout, San Antonio.
As the Spurs look like they came out in the zone.
Yeah, here's that matchup zone that really frustrated SGA.
There's the work against it. Caruso to Holmgren, who's having a quarter. Dagnall's letting you know that he's got 10. Let the quarter end with us. McCain pulls 3. Got it all! Got a foul here to get the ball back. Caruso! Good night! Sands will count it down. Champs even the series. 4 points in 2 games. Williams again.
No hesitation there by Jay Will. And this is
Wembanyama.
great spot for him to catch it.
Get inside, knocked away. Back the other way. Come the Thunder. And McCann. Nice finish at the basket with 2 converging on him. Gilgeous Alexander. Guarded by the rookie, first rounder. Carter Bryant steps back for his first points. And for the lead. Oklahoma.
Stop De'Aaron and keep him in front.
Inside Wallace with the cut. All started with a punishing screen by again, well defended. Kicks to Holmgren inside. Cason Wallace saw him behind.
Backdoor help.
Martenstein. Nice feed inside, but cutting McCain. Finishes it. And he kept playing. Isaiah Joe knocks down 3, and the Thunder have a 5-point lead. Quarter, Fox denying SPA. Hartenstein into the basket. Took advantage of Wembanyama's defensive attention. Caruso.
Okay. Your favorite player.
Here's Alexander takes back. Holmgren the finish as he attacks the rim. And it's 5 shots thus far tonight. Gotta get him going. Holmgren at the rim. Love that line from Mitch Johnson in our meeting tonight. Gilgeous Alexander turns the corner. Soft. 4 of the 5 Spurs. Holmgren. Wallace. Williams. Everybody touched it. And McCain scoring. And he does. Switch at Champagne on Gilgeous Alexander. Caruso cut to the open spot with the double. Ball moves to Williams. Hit the cornet. And the 3.
But number 1, Jamal.
Okay, so we saw the highlights. We saw exactly what I said about OKC. I said that they could win on the road. I said that the Spurs really needed to get game 2 because OKC is capable of winning on the road, which they won game 2 at home and they won game 3 on the road. And I said for OKC to win what they needed to do, you heard me, they needed to get more players in double figures. So let's take a look at what they did in game 2. It seems as if OKC in game 2 had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players in double figures in game 2. And in game 1, if I'm not mistaken, in game 1, they only had 1, 2, 3 players in double figures in game 1. And in game 2, as I said, they needed more contributions from other people. And they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's game 2. It's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players in game 2. 7 players. So that's a big increase from game 1, and that's what I said that they needed to do. And with that, from Shay had 30 points. So that was game 2. And in game 3, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They made in OKC 6 players in double figures. And they shot it 48.1% from the field and 44.7% from the three-point land. So they shot it pretty well. It's almost 45%, almost 50%. And they had 6 players in double figures in game 3 and 7 players in double figures in game 2. So, and their intensity level was high, and that's why they won. And game 3, I think that win came down to, obviously all the players are important and every play is important, but Jalen Williams, the Spurs kind of, I don't know if it's by design or it just worked out that way. He was left open a bunch and he shot 7 shots and made 5. And that's all from three-point land. That's 15 shots. So I think to me, that was the difference in the game. Because if you take a look at the Spurs in game 3, we'll just take a look very quickly at the Spurs in game 3. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in double figures. Let me just make sure there's not a sixth player. 5 players in double figures. And, they shot it fairly well. They shot it 42% and 31%. It's a little bit low. OKC shot at 48%. They shot at 42%. They meaning the Spurs. And from three-point land, the Spurs shot 31.7% and OKC 44.7%. So OKC shot it better. And so, that and Jalen Williams is why they won. And they only turned the ball over 15 times, the Spurs turned the ball over 15 times, which is quite a bit. OKC turned it over 10 times. So I think, there's the shooting percentage, Jalen Williams, and the turnovers, why OKC won game 3. And with the 6 players in double figures in game 3 and the 7 players in double figures in game 2, I believe is why the Spurs got defeated in games 2 and 3. Now, the Spurs are not down and out by no means. They have their injured players back now. They're starting guard and the rookie that was injured. I'm glad to see them back. I think they need to get back to what they were doing in game 1. A heavy dose of Wemby. And then the other players need to score also. But let's establish Wemby first. And then let's get 6, 7 guys in double figures. That's the recipe for the Spurs to win. The recipe for OKC is don't turn the ball over. If they leave Jalen Williams open, he needs to make the shots. And they need to get 5 to 7 guys in double figures as they did in game 2 and 3. So I did say that, OKC, they travel with their game. And by that, I mean, not every team travels. All the teams travel, but not every team travels with their game, meaning that, they don't play as well on the road as they do at home. But I knew that this OKC would play well on the road. So we'll see what happens tomorrow in that series. I do think that the Knicks will win game 3 in Cleveland tonight. And I do think that if the Spurs shoot it a little bit better and establish Wemby a little bit more, and get 5 to 7 players in double figures, I think the Spurs will win at home. And it'll be 2-2 after Sunday's game. So those are my thoughts. Thanks for joining and watching. As always, make sure you get your exercise in with your doctor's approval first. And get it in. It's light exercise, and it doesn't have to be strenuous. It's good for your mind and your body. So hope all is well. God bless. Stay tuned for the next episode, which is episode 12, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you for joining me. God bless you.